Discover the amazing moment when a cleaning lady's daughter changed a millionaire's life forever. Every morning before dawn, Sofia would wake to the sound of her mother Maria, bustling around their tiny apartment, her hands worn from the relentless grind of cleaning office buildings. As the sun peeked through the blinds, Sofia's chest tightened with a mix of admiration and heartache. Maria sacrificed so much for her daughter's future, her dreams of an education, a career, and a life beyond their modest means. Sofia often found herself imagining a different life for her mother, one filled with possibility instead of struggle. With every project she tackled in school, Sofia felt her mother's unwavering dedication behind her. She was determined to excel. And as she navigated late-night study sessions fueled by cold coffee and hope, the moment she'd been waiting for finally arrived, a scholarship to a prestigious college. Excitement surged through her, yet anxiety clung like a shadow. The world beyond her apartment door seemed foreign and terrifying. At orientation, the air buzzed with laughter and whispered secrets of exclusive clubs. Amidst this whirlwind, Jack, a charming young man shrouded in privilege, spilled a drink on an unfortunate fellow student. Sofia watched with a mix of amusement and disbelief, but compassion surged as she stepped in. "Hey, it's okay. Let me help," she said, offering a napkin with a warm smile, instantly easing the awkward tension around them. Jack blinked, completely clueless. That was their first encounter, the spark that ignited an unexpected friendship. As the days passed, Sofia and Jack's worlds began to collide. She witnessed the snide glances from peers who viewed her hardworking background as a flaw, while Jack grappled with the stark realities of social inequality, a world he had never acknowledged. "You can't help how you were raised, but you can evolve," he began to realize, echoed in their honest conversations. Then came the pivotal moment when Sofia proposed a community project, an initiative to help underprivileged students access resources and mentorship. The fire of passion within her couldn't be dampened. Jack, awakened to his privilege, volunteered to help. "What can I do?" he asked earnestly, a tiny thread of vulnerability showing through. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As their project gained traction, Sofia was invited to showcase her achievements at a charity gala. The moment was like a dream, but as she stood on stage, nerves fluttered in her stomach. Just then, Jack took the mic, his face lit with determination. "I wouldn't be here without Sofia," he began, his voice breaking the silence. He spoke of her contributions and his journey from ignorance to awareness. "True friendship isn't defined by privilege," he declared, the room filled with a hushed intensity, hearts racing for what was to come next. Jack faced Sofia, a sincerity in his gaze. Would this moment fracture their bond or solidify it? Sofia felt the weight of change in the air, a transformative journey poised on the edge of truth. Sofia's heart pounded in her chest, the weight of Jack's words hanging between them like an unspoken promise. She could feel the eyes of the audience on her, their expressions a mix of curiosity and skepticism. Did they see her for who she truly was, or merely as a spectacle in this high-stakes setting? Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, her voice trembling but steady. "Thank you, Jack," she began, her gaze locking onto his. "This project is not just mine. It's ours, and it belongs to everyone who believes in lifting each other up." The warmth of her sincerity filled the room, transforming the uncertainty swirling around into something brighter. She shared her heart, speaking about their shared experiences, conversations held late into the night, the struggles of classmates who all too often felt invisible. As she spoke, Sofia noticed a shift in the crowd. Glances exchanged between people carried respect. Yet, with every word, a flicker of doubt flickered in her mind. Would they ever truly understand her? Her truth? Jack leaned against the podium, nodding in agreement. His expression had morphed into something vulnerable, a reflection of the awakening he had experienced alongside her. He was no longer just a privileged boy, he was a partner in battle, fighting for change. The audience erupted in applause as Sofia concluded her speech. But amid the cheers, a voice broke through sharp and dismissive. What does she know about success? It was a fellow student, someone whose opinions were well known for their weight. How can she lead when she hasn't even walked in our shoes? The applause dimmed as Sofia felt the sting of those words. Her heart sank. Would her background forever be a barrier between her and others? Jack stepped forward, his expression fierce. Sofia works harder than anyone else here. It's not about where you come from, it's about where you're going. If you can't see that, you're blind. Sofia stared at Jack, feeling a swell of gratitude mixed with fear. His fierce defense intertwined their lives in a way she hadn't anticipated. Yet by confronting the crowd, he had put a target on both their backs, ready to face backlash from those who thrived on exclusion. After the gala, they left the venue hand in hand, emotions still raw. You didn't have to say that, Sofia breathed, the weight of vulnerability now pressing on both of them. You could just let it go. But I couldn't, Jack replied, squeezing her hand tighter. You deserve to be heard. The world needs to know your story. She looked at him, seeing more than just a friend. In that moment, she glimpsed a partner in a much larger fight, a fight against the misconceptions shaped by privilege. Yet beneath the exhilaration, concern began to brew. How could their friendship withstand the scrutiny that was sure to come? As they walked through the dim city streets, Sofia felt hope flickering in her chest. But a deeper question loomed. Would their bond prevail against the weight of societal expectations? Could their friendship survive in a world that often dictated who deserved a voice? The answers hung in the air as night settled around them, and Sofia realized they were just at the beginning of this journey, and perhaps the real challenge lay ahead. How would they navigate the path toward change together? As the glow of the streetlights illuminated their path, Sofia felt a mix of warmth and uncertainty in Jack's hand, their fingers entwined like two vines growing toward the sun. The sounds of the city buzzed around them, yet she couldn't fully escape the harsh reality of that voice in the crowd. Do you really think they'll accept me? She asked, her tone barely above a whisper. The doubt gnawed at her, layering over the confidence she had just summoned. Jack gave her a reassuring smile, but she could see the flicker of worry in his eyes. If they don't, it's their loss, he said, though his voice shook slightly. You bring a perspective they desperately need. Change is hard, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't fight for it. Sofia's heart swelled at his words, but a part of her remained stuck in the quagmire of insecurities. She thought of her mother, who worked tirelessly to make ends meet, with dreams far bigger than her means allowed. She pictured herself standing before a crowd, pouring her heart out for a chance that might never come. Arriving at Jack's apartment building, a towering glass structure that gleamed like a crown jewel against the night sky, Sofia paused. Are you sure we should be doing this? She asked, looking at the opulence surrounding them. I don't want people to think this is all about being close to privilege. Jack shook his head, a glint of determination flashing across his face. It's not about privilege. It's about opportunity, and we both deserve it. He squeezed her hand reassuringly as they stepped inside, the lobby exuding a cold beauty. They settled in Jack's spacious living room, where the walls were adorned with art that sparkled beneath the hanging lights. As they sat on the plush couch, the weight of the world pressed around them. Tension filled the space between them until Jack finally broke the silence. You know, I've been thinking about how to get your message out there. We should organize something big. A community event where everyone can share their stories. Sofia's breath caught in her throat. That sounds amazing, but what if no one shows up? What if it fails? Jack leaned forward, his eyes sharp and focused. What matters is that we try. Even if one person shows up, that's someone who hears you. And what if it changes something? You can't let fear hold you back. His words struck a chord, a sound of hope reverberating deep within her. You really believe that, don't you? She asked, her voice softening. He nodded firmly. Absolutely. You're part of something much bigger than just yourself. A mix of fear and exhilaration washed over Sofia. It was terrifying to think of laying her heart bare in front of strangers, but liberating to imagine the impact her voice could have. Just then, Jack's phone buzzed on the table, pulling them back to reality. "Hey, can you check that?" Jack said, his attention shifting. It might be someone from the event committee. As she reached for the phone, a message flashed across the screen. "I heard about your speech, Sofia. We need to talk." Sofia's pulse quickened. Who could it be? Did they want to crush her dreams or lift her up? The possibilities spun in her mind, a whirlwind of apprehension and anticipation. Jack leaned closer, eyes wide with curiosity. "Who is it?" Before she could answer, a rush of excitement buzzed in the air. She took a deep breath, ready to dive into the unknown. Could this be a turning point in her journey? Just then, a knock echoed through the room. The world outside held secrets they weren't ready to face yet, but Sofia felt a surge of determination. She stood up, heart racing, as Jack followed, both of them knowing they were about to step deeper into a story that could change their lives forever. "What now?" Jack asked, his voice barely a whisper against the tension building around them. But Sofia smiled, ready. "Let us find out." Sofia took a step forward, heart beating steadily against her ribcage, and reached for the door handle. Jack was close behind, his breath hitching in anticipation. The knock echoed again, sharp and insistent, as if demanding to be answered. She turned the knob and opened the door, revealing a tall figure standing in the hallway. An older woman, elegantly dressed in a simple yet sophisticated coat, stood before them. Fine lines recognized the happiness and sorrow she'd carried through her life, and her eyes glimmered with a fierce intensity. "Are you Sofia?" the woman asked, voice smooth yet authoritative. "Yes, I am," Sofia replied, surprised by the sudden rush of confidence. The woman reached into her pocket and pulled out a sleek business card. "I'm Miranda Ross. I heard about your story, and I believe it's time for it to be shared widely." Jack exchanged a glance with Sofia, his eyes brightening, but she felt an unsettling wave wash over her. "You've heard about me? From who?" Miranda chuckled softly. "Word travels fast in this city. I'm part of a community initiative that aims to spotlight voices like yours, voices that deserve to be heard." Sofia hesitated. "But what do you want from me?" "I mean, I'm just a cleaning lady's daughter." Miranda interrupted gently, a hint of warmth in her otherwise brisk demeanor. "No, you are so much more than that. Your perspective, your experiences, they matter. You can help others who feel unheard." "Help others," Sofia whispered, her mind teetering on the edge of disbelief. Could she really have an impact? Miranda stepped closer, her eyes piercing yet understanding. "An event is being organized next month. We want you to speak, to tell your story. It's time for people to listen." Sofia's throat tightened. What if I mess up? What if I choke in front of everyone? Then you learn. You grow. But this is your chance to inspire. Think about everyone out there feeling as lost and unheard as you have. You could guide them. Tension filled the air, heavy and almost tangible. Jack nudged her hand, giving her the encouragement she needed. "You can do this, Sofia. And I'll be right there with you." "Will you?" she asked, turning towards him, seeking reassurance. "Absolutely," he replied, his voice steady and earnest. Sofia's heart swelled. There was a glimmer of possibility, but it flickered nervously among her insecurities. Taking a deep breath, she turned back toward Miranda. "Okay, I'll do it. I'll speak." "Wonderful!" Miranda beamed, her smile breaking the tension. "Let us arrange a time to meet so we can discuss the details. My team and I will support you every step of the way." As Miranda stepped back, ready to leave, Sofia felt an electrifying mix of fear and exhilaration. This was new territory. This was a chance to break free from her doubts. Just as the door began to close, Miranda turned back. "Oh, one more thing. You might want to prepare for some backlash. Not everyone will be supportive of your message." The finality of her words hung in the air like a storm cloud. As the door closed, Sofia's stomach twisted and turned. Overwhelming excitement collided with fear, and she found herself staring out the window, her mind racing. What if it all goes wrong? She whispered, her voice trembling. Then we'll tackle that together, Jack assured her, placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You're not alone in this. Sofia nodded, willing herself to believe him. The horizon before her seemed daunting but illuminated. She realized that change, however uncomfortable, is essential. Embracing the uncertain paths could lead to incredible discoveries. As Jack pulled her into an embrace, Sofia just wanted to feel the warmth of possibility surround her. She was ready to step into the light, but the shadow of doubt lingered. Now, Jack said with playful seriousness, pulling back to look into her eyes. Are you prepared for what comes next? Sofia's heart quickened, her thoughts swirling with the enormity of the task ahead. I'm not sure, but I think I'm ready to fight for my voice. And just like that, uncertainty transformed into yearning. Little did they know that the road ahead would be more challenging and invigorating than either could have ever imagined. With that thought dancing in her mind, Sofia faced a future filled with potential and change because she was about to embark on a journey that would not only test her resolve but also redefine the lives around her. What would it reveal? The question lingered, hanging in the air like an unresolved note, waiting for resolution. The days flew by like leaves in a gusty wind. Each morning, Sofia woke with a jolt, heart pounding, memories of Miranda's words echoing through her mind. You can help others. The words wrapped around her, both lifting her spirits and squeezing her heart with fear. Jack was her rock, providing daily inspiration. He would sit with her over coffee, his face brightening as he encouraged her to jot down notes about her story. You have to connect with them, Sofia. Share your journey, he'd insist, eyes shining with belief. Where do I even begin? She'd ask, the words feeling heavy on her tongue. You start from where it matters. What made you who you are? What do you want people to hear? Jack pushed her gently, igniting the spark of determination. As the date of the event approached, Miranda reached out to schedule a rehearsal. Practice makes perfect, Sofia. You'll feel more confident once you get to know the stage, she explained, her professional tone making everything feel slightly more real. The meeting was set, and anticipation buzzed throughout her. The night before, she sat on the edge of her bed, papers scattered around her like a storm of emotions. She couldn't help how fear clawed at her heart. What if she choked? What if nobody cared about what she had to say? Jack entered the room, halting at the sight of her uncertainty. Hey, breathe. Whatever happens, just know I'm proud of you. She looked up, unsure of the warmth in his gaze. What if I'm not good enough? He shifted closer, placing a hand on her knee. Listen, the fact that you're willing to stand up and share your voice? That matters. You've lived through so many things, Sofia. Just be yourself. He had a way of cutting through the tension, making her feel like she could transcend beyond the shadows of doubt. The following day, Sofia arrived at the venue. The building loomed impressively, echoing her racing heart. The stage was larger than she envisioned, the microphone gleaming under bright lights. As she stepped onto the platform, an orchestra of nervous energy played in her stomach. Miranda guided her through the soundcheck, her presence a calming force. Feel the space, own it, she advised, her tone infused with encouragement. Sofia took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her moment pressing down on her. After a brief practice, it was time for the actual event. The room filled with warm bodies, voices mingling like a comforting hum. Jack sat in the front row, an anchor of steadfast support. When Sofia looked at him, she found reassurance in his confident and as the host introduced her. Whispers of anticipation floated through the crowd. Sofia stood backstage, her heart racing wildly. She could feel the energy crackling in the air, a gentle reminder of her worth. The moment she stepped into the spotlight, the world shrunk away, leaving only her and the microphone. Hello, everyone. Her voice was soft but steady. As she began to share her story, the words flowed with a newfound power. Her struggles, her dreams, the room felt alive with her honesty. But just as she dove deeper into her narrative, she noticed a man sitting at the back. His jaw was set, his brows furrowed. A million thoughts flickered in her mind. Could he be one of those who would not accept her voice? Taking a breath, she turned her focus back inward. She had something to say, something that could reach hearts. Raw vulnerability poured out of her, and even when her voice trembled, she pushed through. Suddenly she spotted Jack, his face lit up with pride. His presence propelled her forward. But then, she returned her gaze to the man at the back, and a sense of uneasiness twisted in her gut. What if this was a mistake? As she reached the conclusion of her speech, a silence hung in the air. What would she face next? Sofia's heart raced. Was this the moment that would redefine not just her life, but others around her? The weight of that uncertainty lingered in the stillness, leaving her breathless. She stepped back from the mic, waiting for the first reaction, completely unprepared for what happened next. The silence felt deafening. Sofia's heart pounded in her chest as she searched the crowd for signs of approval or disapproval. Was she brave enough to hold on through this moment? Time seemed to stretch, each second a small eternity. She caught sight of Jack, wrapped in a warm smile, but that flicker of doubt loomed larger than life. I in the back, the man who had been watching her shifted in his seat, brows still furrowed. Sofia felt like she was an unwrapped gift, vulnerable and exposed, hoping to reveal something meaningful but terrified of being rejected. Just as she opened her mouth to speak again, a tentative clap broke the silence. It started small, a single hand applauding, and then it grew like wildfire. More voices joined in, filling the room with unexpected warmth and joy. Relief washed over her, and a flutter of hope lifted her spirit. She took a deep breath, letting the applause sink in, but the man in the back remained stone-faced, unyielding. "Thank you," she said, her voice stronger now. "Thank you for listening. My journey, like many of yours, is filled with struggle, but it has taught me resilience. It's a story of hope not just for me but for anyone facing their own battles." As she spoke, she caught glimpses of faces in the audience nodding along, eyes wide and understanding, tears glistening in some. That felt like magic. Words had a way of connecting lives, and in this moment she could see it happening in real time. "Every time I was knocked down, I found a reason to get back up," she continued. "And I want all of us to remember that no matter how hard things get, we have the power to rise. To create change. Together, we can break the silence that keeps us from reaching out and helping one another." The applause grew louder, filling her with a sense of purpose. She was wrapped in a blanket of camaraderie, a collective heartbeat. But then, her attention flickered back to the man. What could be haunting him? Why was he still brooding when they were all celebrating? Time began to slip away from her. She wrapped up her story with heartfelt sincerity. "I am standing here not just to speak, but to listen to you as well." She paused for a brief moment. "And to remind you that your story also matters." The noise in the room faded as she took a step back from the microphone, allowing for the tension to settle again. A few tears rolled down her cheeks, which she quickly brushed away, not wanting to show weakness. But she felt emboldened now. She had shared her truth. For a moment, the crowd buzzed with emotions, some people whispering among themselves, others wiping away tears. Jack stood clapping energetically, enthusiasm radiating from him. "But, can I ask you something?" A deep voice cut through the air, drawing every gaze, including hers, to the man at the back. There was a grit to his words, an underlying challenge. Sofia's breath hitched. What could he possibly say? Is he going to question everything I just shared? Why should we care about your struggles? What makes it relevant to us? The room tensed again, and Sofia felt the tension coil tightly in her chest. Was this the harsh reality check she had dreaded? Just when she thought the moment had sparked something beautiful, she was confronted with doubt from a stranger. But it was in that moment of uncertainty she realized this was her chance. To confront the challenge head-on, to reach not just the hearts that embraced her but also the one that guarded itself so fiercely. "Because," she said, voice steadier than she felt, "my story isn't just about me. It's about us all. It's a reminder that we all have struggles different but similar. Acceptance is the first step towards healing." Her heart raced, knowing she had a decision to make. Would she engage this man, address his challenging question? Or would she retreat back into the safety of applause, leaving behind tangled emotions? In that stirring silence, as the man shifted in his chair, Sofia felt the electric charge of potential emanating from the room. Because not only was this her moment, but it could also be a transformation not just for her, but for every single person who had listened. What would her answer reveal? She took a deep breath. How would she navigate this unexpected confrontation, and what ripples would it send through the audience? The path ahead shimmered with uncertainty, yet endless possibility waited just beyond her response. Sofia took another deep breath, her mind racing. She glanced around the room, feeling the weight of every gaze upon her. The warmth of supportive faces was overshadowed by the steely eyes of the man in the back. His question hung heavy in the air, a challenge that demanded an answer. What makes it relevant to us? It echoed impossibly loud. She could almost hear the collective heartbeats of the audience, waiting for her response. Because we're all connected, she said, her voice rising slightly above the murmur in the room. We live our lives, day in and day out, often feeling alone in our struggles. But the truth is, no one has to go through anything alone. We share our experiences, our pain, and our triumphs. That's what connects us as a community. The man's brow furrowed deeper, and she could see him shifting uncomfortably. Maybe he had never seen things from this perspective before. Look, she continued, emboldened by every kind glance and reassuring nod, I grew up in a world where my family struggled. We often went without the basics. It was isolating. But the people who reached out, who shared their stories and their light, made all the difference. As she mentioned her past, Sofia could feel the flood of emotions all around her. A lady in the front row wiped away tears, a young boy in the corner nodded, his innocence gleaming in his wide eyes. She saw hope flourishing where doubt had taken hold. Every time we share, we plant seeds of understanding and compassion. Your journey, your pain, it matters because it holds the potential to inspire another person who might feel just as lost. She locked her eyes on the man again, trying to reach the heart behind that steely exterior. I know my experiences won't resonate with everyone, but they speak to those who need them. That's the beauty of sharing. The man opened his mouth as if ready to argue, but no words came out. Instead, he leaned back slightly, one hand tightening around the armrest. She pressed on, determined to pull him into the conversation. And let us be honest, who among us hasn't faced hardship? We all bear scars. Acceptance, that's where the healing begins. We need each other to grow. The tension shifted in the room, the electric charge now teasing at something lighter. A woman near the front spoke up softly, She's right, I felt alone after losing my job. But just hearing her story shows me I'm not. A ripple of agreement spread through the audience as heads nodded in understanding. Sofia felt the tide of connection grow stronger, her heart racing with excitement. She wasn't just speaking to the naysayer anymore. She was speaking for the countless others who had found strength in community. The man leaned forward, curiosity replacing the discomfort on his face. So you think your struggle can help me too? Absolutely, she said, warmth flooding her voice. The moment we let down our walls, we open ourselves to healing, both individually and collectively. Just imagine how powerful we could be if we shared our journeys openly. The atmosphere in the room shifted. It became a nurturing space filled with tension that had been released into hope. The silence that filled the space was no longer oppressive. It was filled with anticipation. Jack's eyes sparkled with pride, and Sofia's heart swelled. This was it. This was the change she had been hoping for, not just for herself but for everyone. With a deep breath, Sofia took a step closer to the audience. We are more than our struggles. Together, we can build a bridge to understanding and acceptance. Let us turn pain into purpose, and let our stories create a wave of change. The applause erupted anew, louder and more spirited than before. However, amidst the joyous noise, she never missed the man's expression shifting to something softer, more open. It felt like a tiny victory, the first step towards bridging that divide. As she stepped back from the mic, her chest filled with exhilaration, Sofia knew she had ignited something in that room. Something that could ripple beyond this event. Still, questions clung to her mind like a stubborn thistle. Had she truly reached him? Would he still stand firmly in his solitude after this moment? More importantly, could this be the turning point for others to embrace their stories? Who else is ready to share? Sofia called out boldly, looking directly at the man in the back, and in response, she caught a flicker of movement. Would he rise to join her? Or would he retreat back to the shadows? The room held its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. A heartbeat passed. The air was thick with anticipation. The man's eyes darted around the room as if searching for an escape, yet something lingered, tugging insistently at him. Sofia watched every flicker of emotion cross his face, the rigid features beginning to soften as he weighed his options. Maybe, just maybe, he muttered softly, eyes drifting away from her gaze. The crowd remained silent, holding on to the fragile thread connecting them all. Then, as if a dam broke, he shifted to stand up. The murmurs swelled like waves, a mix of surprise and encouragement. The room seemed to tilt towards him, the energy palpable. I never thought, he started, voice wavering. I never thought anyone here could understand my life. He glanced towards Sofia, his expression a mixture of vulnerability and resolve. But maybe I've been looking at it all wrong. Sofia's heart swelled, a rush of warmth flooding through her. Here was the breakthrough she had hoped for, the moment of connection. My name is Mark, he continued, and for the first time, his voice held a steadiness that resonated. I've been working so hard to build a life. My father taught me that success was everything. But he never told me what to do when you achieve it. I thought I was supposed to be happy. People leaned in, captivated. They could feel a fuse sparking, igniting something new. Sofia wanted to reach out to him, to let him know he wasn't alone in his confusion, but she held back, letting him find his rhythm. Nobody prepared me for the emptiness, Mark confessed. I have the big house, the car, everything money can buy. But when I look around, I see people who want more from me than just my success. I've lost touch with what truly matters. Sofia could see tears glistening in his eyes, and she felt a shared pain blooming within her. It was the raw honesty. They'd all been seeking the connection that built bridges. I'm tired of feeling like I'm the only one, he admitted, his voice breaking, like I have to do this on my own. Fate had brought them all together at this moment, no longer as strangers but as a community ready to uplift one another. We're all human, Mark, Sofia said gently, stepping forward. Success is only part of our stories. What matters more is how we use it, how we share it. The crowd erupted in a united voice of agreement. A ripple of clapping spread through the audience, smaller at first, then growing into a full thunder of support. As Mark soaked in the applause, the tension melted into acceptance and love. Sofia smiled, knowing this was the essence of what they had all been striving for. Sharing their experiences was not just about overcoming struggles. It was about finding strength in numbers, about seeing reflections of themselves in one another. Sometimes, all it takes is to step out of our fears to find belonging, Sofia declared, her voice steady now. Who else wants to share their story? Each voice matters. A chorus of reluctant nods and teary smiles responded. She felt the momentum rising, the hope that began to twinkle like stars piercing through darkness. The gentle tapping of footsteps near the back of the room caught her attention. An elderly man stood with his hands trembling by his sides, his eyes bright yet filled with age. The audience turned, curiously whispering, "What will he say?" Sofia's heartbeat quickened. Would he add his voice to this chorus of transformation? She held her breath, wondering if another story would emerge to touch their hearts just as Mark's had. It was no longer just about connection. It was about uncovering the strength that lay in vulnerability, and the possibility of healing through the tapestry of shared experiences. Sofia could only hope this was the beginning of something profound. Would his words deepen their bond even further? The room held its breath, the elderly man's presence suddenly magnifying the weight of the moment. Sofia felt an electric thrill, like the first spark of a fire igniting. She could sense everyone leaning forward, the anticipation hanging thick like smoke in the air. "Hello," the man began slowly, his voice gravelly yet steady, like pebbles rolling in a stream. "My name is Harold." He paused, glancing around the room, and for a heartbeat, it felt as if the walls were closing in around him. Sofia felt her heart tug at his hesitation. What burdens were resting on his shoulders? As he continued, she could see hints of a life richly lived but also tinged with sorrow. "I've seen a lot in my lifetime. More than I care to remember." His words trailed off, and the audience could almost see the memories flicking through his mind like photographs flipping in an old album. "I worked as a custodian for decades. I cleaned offices, homes, you name it, I've sanitized it. I saw people living in their ivory towers while I mopped their floors." His voice held no bitterness. Instead, it was painted with the wisdom of acceptance. He smiled faintly, the gentle lines on his face softening as he spoke. "But those floors were where my greatest lessons were learned." Sofia's breath hitched. She could feel the crowd shift, an unspoken understanding blossoming among them. "When I cleaned, I listened. I heard the dreams whispered in passing, the laughter that echoed through the halls during lunch breaks, the tears during phone calls." Harold's eyes sparkled with memories, a painful joy pouring through. "I realized that success is not defined by wealth or status. It's by the relationships we build and the love we share." A soft murmur of agreement filled the room, each listener reflecting on their own lives. Harold continued, "Right after I retired, I had a neighbor young and ambitious. A real go-getter. Her name was Lily, my daughter." He stopped, emotion brimming in his voice. She recorded her thoughts in a journal. Every day, she'd come to me, asking how to dream bigger, how to chase what she wanted in life. Tears filled his eyes, and Sofia felt the wave of emotion wash over the crowd, weaving a tapestry of shared humanity. One day, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "Dad, I don't want to be just a name on the wall of success. I want to be a voice in the world." The room hung on his words, the impact heavy yet beautiful. That's when it hit me. It wasn't about cleaning floors anymore. It was about helping others find their voices, too. He let out a shuddering breath, composed but raw. "I'm here today because I decided to honor my daughter's dreams by creating a scholarship in her name, for kids from underserved communities." The corners of his mouth turned up, a hint of pride breaking through the tears. "I want them to chase the stars. Because no matter where we start, we all deserve to find our place." The crowd erupted again, this time in joyous applause, feet stamping on the ground, echoing their support like a booming drum. Sofia felt her own tears welling, overwhelmed by the bravery in his confession. Then, from the back of the room, a young woman stood, her face flushed with emotion. "I'm Lily!" she shouted, voice trembling. The crowd gasped, then erupted into cheers. Sofia's heart raced. The moment felt charged with possibility. Could a daughter redefine her father's legacy and change countless lives? Harold beamed at Lily as she stepped forward, their connection palpable even from a distance. Sofia sensed they were on the verge of a new chapter, one that might inspire everyone in the room to question their own paths. What would happen next? Would their story continue to unfold in unexpected ways? The air clamored with excitement, and all eyes were on them, poised for a revelation. Sofia's heart soared as she watched Lily stride confidently to the front, the fire in her spirit lighting up the entire room. "I had no idea this would happen. To see him stand proud after all those years, it's surreal." The applause swelled again, the energy spilling over into beaming smiles, teary eyes, and nodding heads. The room felt less like a stage and more like a home, filled with people ready to embrace transformation. Lily's hands trembled slightly as she took the mic. "I'm just starting out, and I immediately thought of all the stories shared today. They remind me that our journeys are intertwined," she said, her voice strong but quaking with emotion. "I want to help others find their voices too, just like my dad helped me." The crowd fell silent, hanging on to her every word. "What if we started a project together?" Mark called out, enthusiasm erupting from him. "A mentorship program where we connect with students from underprivileged backgrounds and help them follow their dreams?" Gasps spread through the audience. Ideas ignited like fireworks, sparking a fever of hope and willingness. Yes! Sofia shouted, a giddy rush overcoming her. We can provide free workshops, tutoring sessions, anything we can offer. Let us use this momentum, Jack added, looking around at the eager faces. We can create a community of support, where each voice matters. Together, we can rewrite the narrative of who is deemed worthy of success. Everyone buzzed with excitement, creating a symphony of overlapping suggestions and aspirations. Ideas flowed freely, potential forming tangible paths. Sofia's cheeks hurt from smiling, her heart full to the brim. Only moments ago, she'd been terrified at the thought of sharing her story, yet now she found herself at the epicenter of change. As the chaos of inspiration settled into enthusiastic discussions, Sofia noticed Harold looking around, awe mixing with pride on his face. This was a transformational moment not just for her but for everyone present. She approached him, understanding their journey was just beginning. Your story, Harold, inspired all of us. Thank you for being so brave. Harold's eyes glistened. Thank you for reminding me of why I wanted to share this in the first place. It's not just about our pasts, it's about the futures we can all create together. Tears brimmed in Sofia's eyes again as she thought about herself just months ago, full of doubt, hidden in shadows. Here she was now, surrounded by friends and allies, ready to embark on journeys that forged connections and grew resilience. We should all meet regularly, she proposed, her voice captivating the crowd once more. This doesn't end here. Let us help each other keep our voices alive. Cheers erupted, an overwhelming sense of solidarity propelling them forward. Somewhere in this bustling heart of support, they all found common ground, a desire to unite the silenced, uplift one another, and conquer the barriers holding them back. As the room began to disperse, smiles lit every corner. Mark turned to Sofia, wrapping her in a warm embrace. You did it, Sofia. You brought us all together. Jack stood beside them with a proud grin. But this is just the beginning. Absolutely. Sofia exclaimed, joy bubbling in her chest. We're going to change our city, our community, all of us. One voice at a time. Everyone gathered their things, buzzing with ideas and active plans, ready to cultivate this newfound spirit of collaboration. As Sofia shared laughter with their new friends, she felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. Every sacrifice Maria had made, every late-night study session, led her here to this moment filled with purpose, connection, and hope. Sofia looked around the room once more, seeing faces filled with excitement and determination. They weren't just voices, they were a movement. Together, they would embark on a mission to inspire, empower, and transform lives. And as the last lingering notes of celebration floated into the air, a profound feeling settled in her heart, a sense that change was unstoppable when fueled by compassion and understanding. This wasn't just a story about a cleaning lady's daughter anymore. It was a new chapter in humanity's journey toward unity. In that defining moment, Sofia realized she would not only be the change, she would help cultivate an environment where every voice mattered. And just like that, life unfurled before her, a bright, promising tapestry woven from threads of resilience, community, and unwavering spirit. Now more than ever, it was time to share their story. So, if you're inspired by this journey, you need to subscribe now. Join us and ensure you don't miss the next exclusive stories filled with hope and human connection. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm, help spread our message, and change more lives. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending, and let us keep the conversation going. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to show your support.